Hey everyone, I'm Erin and welcome to the Cardboard Republic. We are bringing you our July to be played list. So these are all the games that we're hoping to play during the month of July. Before we get to that though, we're going to recap how we did in June. First up is Millennium Blades. This is the game that I kind of geeked out over last time because it is a 2-hour long collectible card game simulation game where you are playing players in a collectible card game tournament scene. You have to buy cards and assemble decks and try to collect sets. It's very, very meta. There's a lot going on and it is an involved game. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's super heavy or super substantial or difficult, but it is involved. So you need to have players who are willing to commit to the 2-hour playtime plus whatever it takes to set up. The first time you set up, it's a beast. As long as you have that though, as long as you have players who are gonna go on that journey with you, it was so much fun. Next, we have Imhotep. This is one of the Spiel des Jahres nominees. So after we played this, and we did play it, we got to say that we had played all of the nominees this year, which was really neat and doesn't often happen because normally there's one pick that they have that's just like completely out of left field. And anyway, we got to play Imhotep. It is one of those deceptively simple games where the rules aren't that complex, it doesn't take that long to teach or to get started or even to start to develop a strategy for it. But the more you play and the longer your game goes on, the more involved your decisions become. I love that type of learning curve in a game, particularly in a Euro game, because so often you can have a case where some early game mistake locks you out of winning entirely. And I didn't really feel like that was the case with Imhotep. I mean, I won, so that might also be a factor, but it was really fun. Manhattan Project is the next one. This is a game about running the Manhattan Project, and I would tell you more about it if I knew more about it, but we didn't get a chance to play it. We made that mistake where we picked a lot of like really long games to play in June, even though June was a super busy month, and it did not work out for us. Signore, though, this is a game that we did play. It's another Euro style game where you are trying to make your family dynasty as successful as possible. You send your sons off to get jobs and to go visit other families and be respectful members of society, I guess. You send your daughters off to get married, which is a little weird. It wasn't as weird as when you had to roll a die to determine whether you had girl babies or boy babies, but it was still a little weird. I did really like the game though, and it got me thinking about how that marriage mechanic could work in maybe a different way in some games that I might not have been as weirded out by. Keyflower was the game that we picked because we had played it before. We played it a while ago. I was kind of on it, and we wanted to play it again. We didn't even really, I mean, we came a little bit close. I think Ryan read the rules to the expansions for Keyflower, but that was about as close as we got to getting this to the table. It's still kind of on our unofficial list because, like I said in the last video, I didn't have the best experience with it the first time, but it's a game that has a lot of respect in the community, and I'd like to give it another shot to see if maybe I just missed something that first time, or if this is really just a mismatch and the game is not going to work for me. Legacy, the Gears of Time Forbidden Machines expansion was our card draw game, so that's the game that we randomly selected from our pile of cards to play. Despite being an expansion to a game that we like, that we've already played and know the rules to, and really would have been super easy to probably get to the table, we never did that. We didn't even really get close on that one, but I do still want to play it. I'm like A+ great at time travel games. So I like to play these when like my gaming self-esteem is running kind of low. I haven't won anything in a while because for some reason time travel games, like I just see it. But I mean, next time, guys. So to recap briefly, that was 3 out of 6 games that we played, or 3 out of 6 games that we didn't play, depending on whether you're a glass half full, glass half empty kind of person. I'm gonna say, hey, we played 3 games. Good on us. Let's move on. So July is kind of a busy month for us, but hopefully we will have some time for gaming. We're gonna start it off by playing maybe some heavier games. We kind of want to get those to the table. We haven't had a lot of time lately for any big Euros. Of course, this is the same mistake we made last month. So we'll be back the beginning of August. We'll tell you how it went. Oh God. We're gonna start off with Dark Dealings. This is our July game of the month. So of course we always play it during that month. We do a review, we do all sorts of other special content. Thankfully, that means we're gonna get at least 1 game in this month. Dark Dealings is also really short, which will definitely help us. In this game, you are an evil overlord. You are trying to defend yourself from a bunch of heroes. There is an aspect of player elimination to it, but because the game is relatively quick, it's not like a huge deal. It's not like getting eliminated in Monopoly and then 4 hours later you're still sitting at the table. This game is quick, it is to the point, and we will get it done. Next up is Castles of Mad King Ludwig. This one, I pulled the rules out the other night, but then I got sleepy and then I put them down and then the cat laid down on top of them, so I'm gonna have to uncrinkle them and read them. But the fact that I pulled the rules out means that I definitely do want to play it soon. In this game, you are trying to build the castle of Mad King Ludwig, but of course the demands keep changing. You have to keep modifying your strategy as you go. What's interesting to me about this game is that I am a player who loves building things. I am your classic architect archetype. I love putting pieces down and seeing something grow from them. I'm really, really excited for this one, so I think it will happen, because usually when I really, 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 really want to, I can make it happen in the month. Then we have Arkwright. This, in contrast to Nippon, is a game set during the British Industrial Revolution. You are playing as a company trying to build up your corporate profile over the course of a few decades. It's an economic game. It's been making waves lately. I know people have wanted to play it in the more Euro-y circles, and I love a good Euro game, so I'm looking forward to this one, but it's primarily probably gonna be a game that Ryan wins, because I have a tendency in the middle of these games to get super distracted by something that's going on somewhere else, and then it is downhill from there. But you know what? I'm gonna give it a try, and if I tank my company, then I could still run for president someday and no one will even remember. Then we're gonna try something completely different. So far, we talked a lot about Euro games, with the exception of Dark Dealings, and we're gonna try Looting Atlantis. This is definitely not an economic Euro game. In Looting Atlantis, you are trying to escape from the falling city of Atlantis, and you are trying to collect as many artifacts as you can before you leave. The big decision is the timing of when you ultimately flee. If you leave sooner, you're gonna end up in a better spot. You know, you'll get prime land later on. But if you leave later, you're gonna have a chance to collect more stuff from the city before you go. I love games that have like one really big decision point like that, because you can really you tell a lot about someone by like where they fall, how they make that choice, that it can be fun just to play and watch people. So we're gonna give that one a try. At this point, we always look back and we pick a game that we've played maybe once or twice before and that we really want to get to the table again. This month, we're actually going to have a repeat. I think we've chosen Eldritch Horror before for this category, but it never happened. I have been in the mood to play this game so badly over the past couple weeks that it is on the list again, and it is definitely going to happen. Eldritch is the successor to Arkham Horror. I wouldn't really call it a sequel, but it has the same kind of idea. You are fighting monsters, Cthulhu, and so on a global scale. Ultimately, though, it's about throwing a bunch of dice at the table and trying to avoid bad things. That's about all there is. There's some story mechanics, there are a bunch of cards. It's not everyone's thing, totally get that, but I have such a soft spot for these games that I'm really excited. Next up is our card draw game. This is where I shuffle these cards, usually pretty poorly, and then I draw one. Each of the cards has the name of a game that we need to play and review within the month. If you recall from the beginning of this video, we drew, last month, the Legacy Gears of Time Forbidden Machines expansion, but we didn't actually get to play it. I'm not going to throw that card back into this pile because we're going to make an effort to play it this month. I am going to shuffle this, and then we will see what we end up with. Slash. Slash is a game by Games by Playdate. Spoiler, these are people we know, but we have yet to actually review the game. It's kind of like Cards Against Humanity in that it is a pitching sort of party game, but instead of trying to be the worst person you can possibly imagine, you're trying to be the best/worst fanfic writer you can possibly imagine. So you are trying to match up characters that may or may not have any chemistry, may or may not be from the same universe, may or may not even be both real people or real fictional characters. Anyway, you are trying to match them up and make the case for them being the best fanfic pairing at the table. It can get very quickly ridiculous, but that's kind of one of the best parts about it. So sometimes we have trouble finding the right group for this game. It can be a little bit of a challenge. It doesn't really fit super well with all of our more serious gamer friends. But we pulled it, and we are gonna make this review happen. All right, folks, so that was our July to be played list. We will be back at the beginning of August to let you know how all of that went. Hopefully we have chosen games that we will definitely be able to get to the table, because I do not want another 3 out of 6 month. That is just depressing and sad. So if you like what you see here, please click like and subscribe down below. We do really appreciate it. And if you want to support us further, we do have a Patreon, and we will have that link down in the show notes. Also, let us know what games you are going to try to play during the month of July. We always like to see what you guys are playing because it tells us a lot about what our audience is into and helps us create content that really suits you. All that said, we will be back very shortly with another video, and until then, bye guys!